Welcome everyone to the free EED webinar, Cracking Masks and Lowering Shields. It is May 3rd, 2018, and joining us we have Alina Florea, we have Cesar Avirare, we have Mihai Stoica, we have Philippe Raisis, we have Kirsten Klasian, we have Haldora Gudmarsdottir, and we have Ashish Anand. Wow, how did I do with those names? I'm a little tongue-tied today. All right, good. And we have Vinay. Vinay, welcome, Vinay.
Thank you.
So a few others may join late. I'm not sure. There's supposed to be 15 of you, which is a good, healthy registration, but we never know how many actually show up. So, so I just want to give you a brief, tell you briefly the focus of this call, because working with masks and shields is actually quite broad and far-reaching, and there's many different reasons we'll either work with or against these masks and shields, okay? It can get to be quite complex. Now, most of you, I believe, are coaches, or all of you may be coaches or have coaching experience. Some of you may not. Some of you may be consultants, facilitators, mediators, or you may be doing something completely different. But in our daily life, we constantly confront these masks and shields. So this will apply across the board. Now, where I'm focusing today is how masks and shields are simply reactions. They are reactions that can block the process or the progress of a person developing either more resilience in themselves or going through transformation, where they're resisting the process. So where I'm looking at is how masks and shields are a form of resistance. One, how to understand why those masks and shields are there. And there are different types of masks and shields. And then number two, to give you some ways to counteract them, some simple antidotes so that you're not constantly fighting the mask or fighting against the shield. Because when we do that, that just creates more resistance and it slows the process down. Now, there are other uses where we can actually encourage the mask or the shield, and that can actually be done to positively reinforce the resilience of the person, but that is not the focus of this call. That is related to some work we do in Module 3, where we actually encourage the person to set boundaries from a resilient place. That could be a whole other webinar that I might do in the future, okay? How do you use masks and shields to define boundaries and to find what are true boundaries and what are false? Now, another reason we use masks and shields, either to encourage them or neutralize them, is in conflict work, conflict mediation work, and reconciliation work. That is not necessarily going to be the focus here. And one last application of masks and shields is to work with the victim cycle. So they're very key to understanding where the person is in their victim cycle and releasing them from the victim cycle. Now that will be more the focus of the next call, okay? Working with the victim cycle. So I want to avoid going into those areas because, I mean, and you may have questions there. So I may briefly address them, but I don't want to expand on them too much just because I want to focus on how masks and shields are reactions and how those reactions can lead to resilience in the client. Is that clear for everyone? Maybe it sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook. I don't know. Usually what I see is people fight these masks and shields and they try to break through them, crack them, eliminate them, avoid them for the sake of empowering or transforming the client. Okay, one simple way is say, put the mask aside. You know, you're hiding, or take down the shield. You know, you should be more vulnerable. And that's actually not fair to ask of the person, because these masks and shields are natural reactions. Okay, I'll get into that a little bit more. What I'd love to know briefly from you guys, it gives you guys a chance to set the tone for the call, set the focus with me. I'd love to hear from you. What are some examples of masks or shields that you've run into, either in your coaching work, or if you've been working with conflicts, or in your business, or in your personal life? What are some examples of masks and shields you've run into that you'd love to see addressed, you know, or explained? And feel free to jump in, and I'll capture what you're bringing.
So I would like to ask you to stay a little bit on the, you know, performance masks of the clients when you want to perform, to show you the better version that they are, and they're not willing to admit that their situation can be improved, or they are not perfect. I'm struggling to work with these masks also from my end, you know. I am putting this mask as a coach a lot of times. Being good, you know, I have to be proper and neat and clean. And
Excellent. That has many uses, and it's very common, of course. Yes. Who else?
This is Philippe. I have two. One is a very famous one, Boys Don't Cry. And the other one, I think it also applies. It's this great answer, I don't know. When you ask any question to your client, he or she goes, I don't know. Like, I don't even take the responsibility of giving an answer. Or searching for an answer.
Great.
Does it apply?
That does apply. The thing with I don't know is sometimes three things. Either they truly do not know, or you're skipping steps in the process where they can't know yet. Or three, it is a mask or shield. So we can differentiate those. Boys don't cry, definitely a mask or shield. And girls don't cry too. So the other one is girls don't get angry. Boys don't cry, girls don't get angry. I'm going to write that one down anyway. Okay, good. Who else?
I have came across, I'm strong enough and I don't need help.
I'm strong enough, don't need help. That's a great example of false empowerment as well. But when it's used as a mask or a shield, it's different. Great. Who else?
I sometimes stick to what Vinay said just earlier. And one other mask that I use sometimes is when contracting a client, I tend to be more polite than I should be.
Let's say polite, nice, and even politically correct. Great. That works? And when either you're doing it or they're doing it to you. And that's related a bit to the performance mask of being a good person, being the best version of oneself. But the politeness and niceness also can be quite different. It's coming from a different place for different reasons. Good. Who else? since there's 8 of you, I'd love to hear briefly from each, and even if it's just, oh yeah, I want more of that mask or that, you know, if it's already been mentioned, that's fine too. Just love to hear from each of you briefly.
Well, the mask I faced is the one I know very well.
Mm-hmm.
I know very well. It's different. It's difficult to crack it and to show someone thinking he knows or she knows very well or everything.
Okay.
What is missing? Yeah.
I see 2 masks there, or one is a mask, one is a shield. The one that says, oh, I know. Yeah, oh, I know. And the other one is, yeah, well, I know. I
Yes.
know that. I already know that. So one is, yeah, we're going to talk about attack and defense. So one is more defensive or apologetic. Yeah, I know. And the other one is, well, I know. Don't tell me. I know everything. Okay. Do you guys get it? There's 2 versions of that for sure. Okay. Good. Who else? How about, yeah, Kirsten or Haldora? Ashik?
Yeah, I can comment here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of not sure exactly what a mask is or if I have come across it in my work. So I'm sort of like researching that in my brain right now.
I'll definitely define it as we go along anyway. So you'll get the definitions of what makes a mask, what makes a shield. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I wonder if the sort of attitude of like everyone's wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone else is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Is a mask. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm offering that as a suggestion.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's great. Everyone is wrong. Except me.
Mm-hmm. People are stupid.
People are stupid. It's a good one. People are stupid. I use that one a lot. Just because they are. No. Also, another version of that is self-righteous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was the other suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-righteous, and with that one, a variation of that is the easily offended person.
Yeah.
I'm very easily offended. The how dare you? You should be more aware of your impact. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
So I have the, let's say, professional one.
Mm-hmm.
So no emotions and yeah. Let's say professional. Look from the distance.
Yeah. So no emotion, distant, nothing affects me,
Yeah.
tough exterior, all those
Strong.
kinds. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Say it again.
So that's strong business, uninvolved shit.
Okay. Yeah. Uninvolved. Okay. Great. Very, very common. And we're going to talk quite a bit about that because those are classic shields. Yes. Good.
May I comment on one thing? I also wonder if the mask of I'm here to solve my work problems is a mask, a shield. Because most of my clients hire me because there's something wrong with the work. And then we end up working with something completely different the whole time. So, yeah.
Say a little bit more on that, just to expand it so that I'm getting a sense of...
Yeah, I wonder if the sort of the excuse of there's something wrong with my work, that's why I'm here to have coaching, is a mask or a shield to other deeper problems or something different.
Okay.
I wonder.
Okay, so that's pointing the finger outward. There's something wrong with them or out there, and I want to solve it.
Maybe it comes back to the, the world is wrong, and
Yeah.
Joy?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have two examples of customers, and I wonder if they work here. One of them is someone I haven't worked with yet, but who said, what I expect in a coach is I want him to challenge me all the time. So the feeling I got is I want him to push me, and I really don't want to take the responsibility of looking inside myself and asking myself deeper questions.
Yeah.
So that's one. And the other one is a bit more peculiar. It's a client who, you know, so you have this wheel with the different parts of your life, and you say, I'm satisfied 8 out of 10 in this part of my life. I'm satisfied 6 out of 10 in this part of my life, etc. And I have this client who is basically satisfied like 7 out of 10 of his life. And when I ask him, okay, so what is your goal for this session? What do you want to do? The answer usually is always, I don't know. I'm really very happy with my life.
Okay.
So this is really contradictory.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that definitely can apply. Everything is fine. Okay. No need to change anything.
Yes.
I'm going to add in here the Zen mask. Okay, that's okay. Like everything is good. I'm so Zen. I accept everything. Okay. And you can have others, variation of everything is fine or okay. Everything's a 10 out of 10. Everything's great. It's all great. It's great. Now, wanting to be pushed or challenged could be a mask shield, but it's also a game. Related back to last call, okay? They're playing a game with you. They're casting you in a role, right? You be the one to challenge me, okay? So it is related. We can see what the kind of mask or shield that is. Good. And then wanted to hear briefly from Ashish.
Yes. Hi, Troy. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, Troy thought of actually 2 masks which I've been coming across. One is the victim mask.
Which one?
That's like I'm doing like a victim mask.
Victim mask, yeah.
So I'm putting like 100 energy and I'm getting back 1. So life is bloody unfair. And then 2 is something which Mihai was saying of being like a bit like falsely polite. So just to give you an example, like recently someone was just asking me about some blog post which I had written like 1 month ago. And the honest answer I wanted to give was that well, it's 1 month, it's gone, the energy is not there, so we don't need to go into that. But just because I thought it'll be impolite, I gave a kind of an elaborate answer about that blog post, but in a way it was not really like the real energy. So sometimes I felt like this polite mask, but then it's not respecting the underlying energy. And then sometimes this victim thing that I'm putting 100, but I'm getting 1 back. Yeah.
Okay.
These 2 I'm sometimes seeing, yeah.
Okay, so the 100% in, 1% back is more a game, okay? Now, we can look at what's the mask that is causing the game, okay? The mask or the shield that causes the game. When you're saying this false politeness, is that coming from you or from them?
I would say also from me. So like this blog example I gave you, this happened to me. Like somebody was asking me, I sensed for a moment what I really want to say, but actually I just gave them a polite reply because I thought I don't want to offend them, which is again like an assumption because maybe the honest reply would not have offended them.
Okay, now that's a good one. Don't want to offend, because where is that coming from? You or them? This relates again to games, but it also relates to a very special mask, okay? So I'll get back to that, okay? That will be addressed, Ash, okay? This false politeness and don't want to offend, all right?
Thank you, Troy.
You're welcome. Okay, let's get into this. Here's how this is going to work. I'm going to give some explanations, some lectures. I want your questions along the way. If there's something you need clarified, please feel free to stop me, interrupt, okay? Ask questions or ask me to clarify something. Hopefully I'll get to a mini demo. I'm not sure how the demo would work, because I mean, I'd need to work with one of you, and I'd want you to be able to put up your masks and shields so I can show how to counteract them. So if we do that, you know, be a bad client, that's fine. Be misbehaved, because we need that. Otherwise, we might be able to, instead of a demo, maybe walk through a few different scenarios, or maybe I do some short little mini demos or something. We'll figure it out as we go. We'll see what's needed from you guys. And then there'll be plenty of time towards the end for your questions and answers, okay? Now, what we're talking about today gets thoroughly covered in EED Module 2 and in the Reconciling Conflicts course, okay? So when I say we've got 2 courses, 2 full training courses that cover this, you know that this is a massive topic. So please don't think you're going to walk away with all the secrets and all the keys and full mastery of this. But what this will do is open your mind. It will give you some practical things to work with, all right? I'm not going to hide anything. But like I said, masks and shields are tricky, okay? And what it requires is for you to not get pulled into any kind of a game with the client, okay? Meaning, cast into some sort of a role where you feel you have to rescue or save them, or where you have to fix or solve things for them, or where you have to be their guru or teach them something, okay? Those are the 3 main roles a coach can get pulled into, which is disempowering for the client, all right? Because that means there's a power imbalance, okay? You see, the first place you go is to be in a resilient place in yourself, okay? And when these masks and shields show up, the first mistake is to try and fight it, crack it, eliminate it, or avoid it. All that does is create resistance, okay? Masks and shields are simply reactions, and these reactions come from the emptiness, the inherent emptiness in the client, okay? It's a way to either cover or compensate for their feeling of disempowerment, emptiness, fear, desperation, but it's all related to their relationship to emptiness. This is coming from the ego, okay? As I've explained before in previous webinars, and as I explain in the courses, the ego is really just like an empty shell that wants to fill itself up with experience. It's like a copy of the person's source or essence, okay? It's as if you go into a virtual reality world, you send an avatar into the game of life, okay? And this avatar it's got some programming and some defaults, but it's basically empty. It uses the game to collect its experiences, okay? And the goal is it wants to fill itself up with experiences. That's the function of the ego, okay? But when the ego realizes, and it does know inherently, subconsciously, it is empty. It is disconnected from source. It is not source. It gets threatened because it feels if it's disconnected from source, it has no resources. It has no resilience, okay? So these masks and shields come up when the person is feeling disconnected. And this is a way for them to either imitate source, essence, or resilience, to either cover that up or get away from the feeling of disconnection, okay? And they're trying to control themselves and their environment around them. So why do these masks and shields show up? Basically because the person is fighting their circumstances. It's natural. Now, if you simply accept those behaviors as natural, you're already ahead of the game. There's nothing to change or transform. These masks and shields are natural behaviors, okay? They are simply forms of resistance. And as I've spoken in previous webinars, resistance itself is a form of resilience. They are fighting to survive. Therefore, they are using their resilience. The difference is that they don't realize that just by their very act of fighting and resisting, they are being resilient. It's mischanneled. It's focused away from empowering themselves, and it's only aggravating their feeling of disempowerment. The more they fight, the more weakened or fearful they feel, and they get a false sense of strength, okay? How are you guys doing with that so far? Okay? Now, there's so many variations on how they're going to do this. What we basically do in EED is first let the mask or the shield be there. Then we can decide how we want to play with it, okay? No matter how we play with it, what we're really doing is we're harnessing the energy the person is using to hold up that mask or that shield. First, we're focusing on that energy, okay? Converting that into resilience and anchoring them in a resilient place. Eventually, we can have them face that emptiness and reconcile with it. Okay, that's eventually what's happening. And I'm not going to go into that reconciliation process here. Okay, we spend a whole day in module 2 with that reconciliation process. But what eventually happens is all that fighting energy can get reabsorbed back into them, and they no longer feel charged up to fight because that emptiness is no longer a threat or a shadow. It becomes integrated. So that's the summary. What we're looking at here first is how to recognize the mask and then capture the energy behind it, okay? When they're resilient enough, they can lower that shield, they can lift the mask, okay? We're not trying to eliminate it, but we want them to be less attached to the mask or the shield. How are you guys doing with that information so far? Okay. Also, by the way, EED lets the client have the mask, and we let them have the shield, okay? In order to live in the real world, we need masks and shields. We just can't be an open book for everyone, okay? That's asking somebody to live with no identity, and we have identity. Remember, we have an ego, we have a personality. It's only when that ego or personality gets disconnected and it gets out of control, that's when we have to reconnect it to source. And what we're eventually doing is reconciling source and ego together so they can work in a creative relationship instead of an oppositional relationship. Anka, hi, you just joined.
Hey.
Good.
Thank
Good.
you.
I'm just going to write you down. Okay, so let's look at masks here. There are basically 4 types of masks, and then there's a 5th. There's a special kind of mask. Okay. Masks are all about action. It's action and reaction. It's how a person is reacting to their feeling of emptiness or disconnection or fear. They fear something. They're trying to deal with danger. Okay, something threatens them. So there's something they feel they're missing. They feel threatened. They're walking into the danger zone. They're going to have 4 basic masks. Okay. 1. They're going to fight the danger. Now that can be a mask of strength. I know, okay, I know everything. I can handle this. Don't you challenge me, I'll challenge you back. Okay, it's a very rebel type of very active rebel type of energy. Okay, it can even become bully or aggressive, but it's this mask of I'm tough and I'm strong and I'll fight you. The other one can be they flee. Okay, these are two reptilian reactions, okay, from the reptilian brain, fight or flee, okay? The flee is more on the victim side. The victim that either hides, avoids, denies, okay, so this is, I don't even look at the danger, I turn my back and I run, okay? Many masks can be here. Let's change the subject. No, that's really okay. No, you know, let's be distracted. Okay. Another one will be to search and escape. It's similar to flee, but flee is more of fleeing from danger, fleeing from the fear, running away. Okay. Avoiding. Search is let's go somewhere else. Let's escape to something better. So this could be the mask of I use my values, I have my life purpose, I go into positivity. Okay, this is a little different. It's another form of escape, but it's like through, let's say, positivity or searching for greener pastures. Okay. It can also be, excuse my language, fuck this, I'm out of here. That's not fleeing, that is searching. That is searching for somewhere else to go, okay? That's more, again, what the rebel does. The rebel either fights it head on or escapes, goes somewhere else. Say, I don't need this. Do you understand? Now, the last mask is what we call clinging. I cling to my safety. I cling to my protection, okay? I cling to my values. I cling to my security. You can't take this away from me. It's very defensive. It's either they protest, they cling, they insist, all right? They can't let something go, okay? This is, again, a victim, but this is when the victim gets very activated, okay? You can't insult me. They're clinging to their security. That's different than, don't you dare insult me. You see, that's more of an attack. That's the fighter. You guys understanding the difference? So your four basic masks are fight or escape. That's how the rebel behaves. Or they flee or cling. That's how the victim behaves. So for all masks, they're either reacting from rebel or victim, and they'll go back and forth between rebel victim, okay? How you guys doing with this? Confusing or not? Is it clear?
No, it's clear.
Okay.
I'm slightly discovering my masks.
Oh, boy.
the jumper mask.
Okay.
Try to do fun.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Mihai.
Are these type of four masks anyhow related to personality types in a way?
Yes, we could get into Enneagram because the Enneagram uses these masks in some variations, some sophisticated ways. So yes, and the personality will be hardwired to have a preference for any of these four, okay? We're all capable of four, but your client may be more hardwired to be victim. They may be more hardwired to be rebel, okay?
Okay.
But when we're talking about these masks, all of them are reactive, So all of them are coming from a sense of powerlessness, disconnection, non-resilience. So in a way, you could say they're all based on victim mentality. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
The rebel is still acting like a victim, except they're on the other side of victim, becoming the, sometimes the persecutor. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Let me get into the shields here, okay? So if masks are basically reactions, it's the way they act from reaction. It's the way they act back, let's say, okay? Shields are more about non-reaction. It's blocking what's going on. It's stopping the process, okay? So masks are more to fight and defend. Shields are more about shutting the game down, okay? Yes, they're protecting, but they're more blocking what's going on, okay? Now, there are 4 types of shields. 1, apathy. Okay. Do you guys know what apathy means?
No.
Okay.
Calmness, no reaction.
No reaction. This doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. It's so they're all quite similar. Okay. So let me name the 4. You've got apathy, meaning doesn't affect me. You've got numbness, which means I don't feel anything. Okay, that's different than it doesn't affect me. Okay, I'll explain that in a little bit more detail. You have denial, which is not happening. This isn't happening, or it's not happening to me. And then you have indifference, which means I don't care. It's different than this doesn't affect me. Okay. They're very, very, very similar, but what they all do is they shut things down. They're blocking you from any entry, and they're blocking themselves from being affected or activated. Okay, it's like they're pretending to step out of the game or the situation. Okay, do you guys understand how that can be used as a shield? It's like, I'm not here, this isn't happening. That's denial. Okay. Or it's say what you want, it doesn't bother me. That's apathy. Okay, it's like, oh, I'm like a piece of rubber, it bounces off me. Or I don't understand what you're talking about because I certainly don't feel anything. I've been so victimized by this, I don't feel anything anymore, so I'm done. I don't know what I feel anymore. That's numbness. Okay. And indifference is so what? So what? Let them do what they want. I don't care. I don't care. So what indifference really is they are unwilling to invest in what's happening. Denial is this isn't happening. So they're blocking the circumstances. They're unwilling to accept the circumstances. Indifference is they're unwilling to invest in the circumstances. Apathy is they're blocking their own experience of what's happening to them or around them. They're blocking the experience. And numbness is they're blocking their own feelings towards what's going on. So this has to do with external, internal. What's going on internally, they block it, or what's going on externally, they block it. How are you guys doing with that information? A little bit too detailed, or is it making sense?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you make a difference at this stage between, well, all the things you said and faking it? For example, real indifference and faked indifference. Because you can say, I don't give a shit, and you actually don't give a shit. This is your real reaction. Or you can just say it, and saying it is your reaction, but actually you do give a shit. or numbness, or apathy, for example, can be real apathy, or it can be faked apathy. So do you make a difference between these two?
Well, here's what I want to talk about. It's all fake.
Okay.
Okay, it's just different levels of how much are they presenting to you, okay? When they say, oh, I don't care, they care, but they're protecting themselves. When they say, I don't care, that's just the same. I mean, obviously they do care, okay, if they're that invested. So you might get a mix of apathy with numbness, with denial, with indifference. It all can get collapsed together. They can use all four of those shields together, okay? Now, we can talk about, well, how do you work with that? Okay. One thing you've got to know is behind every mask and behind every shield, there is a first impulse. Something hit them first. They got affected. Then they quickly create a second reaction, which is either a mask or a shield or both. Okay, so in every moment, your client or the person in front of you is having two reactions. Now, they're usually very good at creating a magic show, smoke and mirrors, and they want you to pay attention to the second reaction, mask or shield. And they use that to hide the very first impulse, okay? The impulse is the truth. It's the true hit. It's not necessarily their essence, but it is their vulnerability, okay? Vulnerability does not mean weakness or anything. It just means the more truthful level, okay? Okay, how dare you call me incompetent? You're the one who's incompetent, right? Okay, but what happened just before that? They got hurt, they felt sad, okay, they felt invalidated, they felt isolated, you know, many things can happen, okay? One way to work with this is first, identify the mask or the shield. Wow, okay, so you're fighting, or you're getting very defensive. Defensiveness is also a form of fighting, okay? What do you feel now? You can aggravate their second reaction so they get aware, because one thing they'll do is they'll say, no, I didn't do that. They'll start putting up a shield. I didn't get angry. No, I was just kidding. That's denial. Do you get it? Well, okay, but you actually did. Like, we train you in module 1 how to track all the various facial expressions and body behaviors so that you get some congruency. What you can ask is, before you got angry, before you attacked, before you went numb, what happened? What was that first impulse or first thought? That's one way to get behind. What happened just before you put up the mask or the shield? Don't make them wrong for it. Say, it's perfectly natural, you know, it's perfectly natural, and what happened just before, okay? One way to work. Where am I going with this? Oh, there's so much. Any questions on that so far? Oh, yeah. So you always have two reactions. You're normally getting distracted with the reaction number 2. You really want to start paying attention to reaction 1. What's going on underneath? Now, you can train yourself, or we train you, how to read those first impulses. There's various ways to catch those first impulses, but a lot of times you can just see the first impulse before you see the second reaction. Other times, yeah, go ahead, Cesar.
Is it possible that the first reaction to be some unconscious one, and the shield and the mask to be like a show that he's not aware of?
Yeah, it's a show. It is a show. Now, they might not be aware that it's a show. They may move so fast from reaction 1 to reaction 2, they think reaction 2 is the genuine reaction. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how do you, I mean, when there is this reaction which is so obvious that you can spell it out,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it's not so obvious, or when they verbalize, what the client verbalizes does not match with the body posture or something like that.
Yes, great. That's what I want to look at now is congruency. Okay. You're always getting a double signal from the client, the person. They say one thing, they're thinking another thing, they're doing something else, and they're feeling something else. So it's like 4 different things going on. What you want to do is pick one thing and start lining it up, okay, on the mental, emotional, physical level. You can have them choose, okay? Now, here's something that might happen. Where do I have this? Your client, when you catch them, they may switch gears on you. They may contradict themselves, okay? Which is another shield. Okay, one thing they might do is they might start to justify or explain or defend themselves or insist, okay? This is where they start building a case, okay? This might be to strengthen their shield or strengthen their mask. Oh, no, I'm not that angry. No, it really is okay. No, really, I'm fine. Okay, that's when they start insisting. Or, oh, no, I just turned red because of this and that. But no, I'm not angry. Do you understand? So they may double back on themselves, okay? Another thing they might do is they might counter the case, counter the argument. They might start saying, well, no, I really shouldn't be that angry. I need to be more reasonable. Or, I understand the other person's point of view. Or, I really should have more compassion. I actually feel for the other person. I'm not angry. I shouldn't be angry. No, because it's really not fair to them, is it? Or they might say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. They will either be reasonable, be understanding, or they'll start tapping into compassion, or they'll start apologizing, okay? So that's when it starts getting complicated. What is that? When they start breaking their case, they're in denial. If they start building the case, they are defending, okay? So that's another mask or shield. Yeah, somebody had a question there.
Isn't it possible that he is or she is becoming aware of the mask and shield and is self-cracking? And why do you say it's a reinforcement of the? I don't get it.
Okay, well, let's go back to this mask of let's be a good person, or let's perform for the coach, or they're performing for themselves, okay? Sometimes, so there's a couple of ways you can work with their mask. You want to play it up, or you want to aggravate it. So you can take that mask to the hilt. If they're fighting, get them to fight. Okay, really get them to fight. They may suddenly double back on themselves and say, no, I shouldn't be a fighter. That's wrong. That's being a bad person. A good person would be more reasonable, understanding, forgiving, all of that. That's just another mask. Okay. You want them to take on one point of view to see where it really goes. If you can take one point of view to the maximum, they're going to exhaust it. And what they'll actually do is they'll be able to then drop that mask. They won't need it, because then they're going to switch back in another direction. Now, why am I saying this? Because it gets even more complicated. everything works in polarity. So they have this fight, flee, cling, search, because they're trying to move away from danger and they're trying to defend their own security. But when they move over to the side of security, suddenly that becomes dangerous because they flip their mindset. And now they've got to move away from that form of danger. This is what we call caught in a polarity. And we teach this extensively in module 2. Okay? It's almost like you've got an angel, they've got an angel and a devil. Okay? I gotta fight, I gotta be strong. Okay? I can't be weak. All right? And then they move over to the other side and say, but I should be more understanding, otherwise people won't like me. So maybe I should just listen and be a good person. But no, if you listen and be a good person, you're going to get taken advantage of. You've got to dominate others. But if I dominate others, then they won't like me and I won't be validated and I'll be all alone. And they have this battle. And usually it's between control and validation. And the two don't go together. Does this make sense? A little bit more? This is why the person trying to perform and be the good person, they're trying to get the validation, but at the same time, they're losing their control. They're giving up on something. When inside, they're just boiling with anger, saying, I wish this could be different, but if I fight back, I might be a bad person, and I don't want to be a bad person. Okay? This is when they start to be reasonable, understanding. They start to have fake compassion, or they apologize for what they've just said or done. So if you want to work with a mask, and it's a mask that, let's say, crosses the taboo of the client. Oh, I'm a girl and I shouldn't be so angry. Or, oh, I'm a boy and I shouldn't cry. Whatever, you know, because we brought those up. Say, well, remind them, one, it's what you're feeling. It's there. It's a fact. Number two, you have full permission to be inappropriate and a bad person. I'm not going to say anything, judge you. I'm not going to tell anybody. So you give them the space of acceptance and no judgment to make them feel at ease with being inappropriate. Okay. I find it is easier to allow somebody to feel more vulnerable with themselves than for somebody to be evil with themselves. Okay? They're more willing to cry than they are to insult someone. Okay? That's what I find. I don't know. Maybe you find something different. So if somebody's going to complain, if they say, I hate my boss, or my husband is so unfair to me, in order to really have them exhaust the mask, I need them to argue their case. I need them to strengthen that point of view. So then they get more emotionally involved in it. If they don't get emotionally involved, they are hiding behind a shield. There we go back to indifference, apathy, numbness, okay, or the other one. Do you guys get what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by play up or aggravate that mask. Strengthen their point of view and don't let them double back on themselves. Give them permission to go all the way. Another way you can play with them is you play against them. This happens a lot when they start being the victim. Oh, I'm such a failure. Well, you can play that up and say, yes, you are a failure. You've proven that over and over again. That's aggravating. Okay, that's strengthening that point of view. And guess what they're going to do? They might indulge with it in it for a while, but there's going to be a point when it reaches the end and they say, no, wait a minute, I'm not 100% a failure. There you're going to get a spark of resilience. Now, if they say, you know, I don't think this is going to work out. I think I'm going to fail. Oh, no, you'd never fail. How's that possible? You'll never fail. You're a success. They may insist more. They're going to insist, no, I'm a failure. Because if you counteract them, they've got to strengthen their point of view. Okay? You don't let them have that point of view. Okay? What that's going to do is that's going to make them stick their heels in the ground. So don't give them what they want. Oh, all I need is I need just some help or advice. You're capable of helping yourself. Oh, that's just not fair, but I just don't know. Of course you know. Do you see how I'm counteracting? Now they've got to play the victim role even more, for example. That's one way how to get them out from behind their shield. I don't really care. Of course you do. No, I don't care. Oh, come on, you care. No, I do not care. I don't give a flying fuck about this. Ah, great, you've got a lot of energy now. What's going on? You get it? The other one is to interrupt or neutralize what they're doing to themselves, okay? In a way, you give them what they do want. It might sound, and what you're going to do is, it's going to surprise them. It's going to like, what? I didn't expect that. It's like you throw them a curveball. When they say, oh, if only you could just give me some advice. Okay, here it is. What? Yeah, give them what they want. I did this once on the street. This guy asked me, he said, sorry, can you tell me the closest subway station from here? And I said, oh, you just walk 50 meters down the street, turn left, it's right there. He goes, okay, thank you. And he walks away, comes back and says, are you sure that's the shortest way? And I said, no, I assure you, it's only 50 meters, you turn left there. He goes, yeah, but I thought there was another way to go around, and wouldn't that be the shorter way? And he's now playing a game with me, right? So what does he want?
You're right.
He wants to be right. So I give him what he wants. He wants the validation. I say, you know what, sir? I'm sorry, you're right. And he went, what? What? So, you're exactly right. Yes, you go that way, and that's the shortest route. It shut him up. But in that moment of surprise, that's where they've temporarily lost the mask, the shield. It's like the whole game drops away and they're in this neutral zone. You grab that and you can briefly build more resilience. So they can, because once you've temporarily dropped the mask or the shield, they're dropping into a more source connection. They don't need to grab it back so fast, because they then pay attention to their own resilience. Okay. Now, there's lots of techniques on how to do that. But I call it the moment of stun. You want to give them a moment of stun, okay? You either aggravate that mask, you counteract it, or you give them exactly what they're asking. Because there's no need to play the game anymore with that mask or that shield. For example, I don't care. Okay, so don't. It's nothing to invest in. What do you mean it's nothing to invest in? You see? I'm giving them exactly what they want. They have this moment of, and then they start to react again. Is this making sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Quick question: what if they don't start to react again? Do you want me to give an example, or?
Well, yeah, I'd say, okay, so you're dead.
Okay.
If I want to take it really to the extreme, okay, so you're dead. You're a dead person. What you want is the reaction. Is the reaction.
So if they stop reacting, you go to an extreme to make them react again.
Yeah. So how do you play against a shield? You play opposite to it. You appeal to that first impulse behind the shield, which builds resilience or truth, or like what's the reaction before the shield, or you provoke. You provoke. If they're saying, I don't feel, that doesn't affect me, you've got to come with a stronger point of view, meaning 3 ways. Make what's going on even more specific, make it even more personal, and rub it in their face, rub it up their nose. Then they have to react. See, the shield is creating distance. You've got to bring it up close.
Okay.
So that's one way to that's how you provoke. You make it more specific, personal, or up close. That should activate the system more. If that doesn't work, then let them make the shield absolutely true. Okay, if they don't care anymore, I don't care what he says, I don't need him to be my friend anymore. Okay, let him go. Call a spade a spade. Let them go. Don't talk to that person again. They're out of your life. Oh, that's a relief. I'm so free now. Well, maybe that can lead to some resilience, or maybe that's just another mask where it's like they're fleeing or escaping. Okay.
Is it okay if I give my example, because I'm not sure?
Yep, go ahead.
So quickly, this girl is being used by boys. So she's attractive, and she doesn't go to boys who are nice to her. She's not interested, and she's only attracted to guys who are not nice to her. Okay, and she tells me, "Oh, I'm not attractive. I'm not attractive." And I say, "Yes, you're attractive." And she says, "No, no, no, no," and like that 2-3 times, and then I say, "Okay, you know what? You're ugly. I don't find you attractive at all. You look like shit." And then she starts to smile, really from one ear to.
You just muted. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So then she starts to smile from one very wide smile, and she's really happy. She's in a happy place, and then I say, "Okay, so what's happening now? What are you feeling?" No answer, nothing. She's just smiling and smiling and smiling, and looking at me like I'm a god, and she keeps smiling, and yeah. And when I say what's happening, or if I try to provoke her, nothing works. She's so what?
Okay, good. That's a game.
Mm-hmm.
She's playing the cock tease.
Mm-hmm.
To be very blunt. Okay. Oh no, I'm not beautiful. Oh no, I'm not beautiful. Oh, no, no, no. Oh yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh no, I'm not. Come chase me. Come chase me. And then, okay, you're an ugly fucking bitch. And then she doesn't interact, meaning now she has power over you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if she doesn't react now she has power, okay? But she is not empowered. Okay, this is going to relate to the next call, the victim cycle. But, so good, you counteracted the mask. Give her exactly what she wants. She's saying she's ugly, fine, you are ugly. Now what's the reaction? So what you got to do then is grab the reaction and work it. You don't need her to tell you how she feels. If she's grinning from ear to ear, you say, well, you're smiling. You're thrilled. What's it like to be thrilled with that? What part of your body is reacting and activated right now? I don't know. Well, then tell her. This is what you learn in EED is, if they refuse to give an answer within 3 seconds, you give them the answer and see how they react to it. That's how you deal with the client with tape over their mouths, because it's a power play. This is part of their game, is they refuse to answer for several reasons, but when it becomes a control game, you've got to basically shove something down their throat that they're going to spit right back at you. That's not to be cruel, it's to get them to be engaged, because otherwise what they're doing is they're putting up this massive shield called stonewalling. Okay? They're being apathetic. It's too
No,
easy to say, I don't know what I feel. Someone else was coming in?
I wanted to ask you a question about 3 seconds giving the answer. In a different school of coaching, I learned that if my questions or interventions produce silence, this is a good thing. Client is working. So now I'm confused.
Okay.
I don't know what to do anymore.
Okay, this has to do with, are they in a non-resilient place or a resilient place? Now, when we've dropped them into source, essence, they're in resilience, they're experiencing essential qualities, the rhythm totally changes. You can feel that it's a fully energized moment, no need for words, okay? That is different. But when it is the mask or the shield dominating the moment, okay? Silence is not great because they're withholding information. They're disconnecting themselves, okay? I don't give my clients very much time to process an emotion because they're capable of feeling and talking at the same time. For them to sit there and swallow their sadness or their anger is not healthy because it's distorting in their head, okay? I want them to talk it through. What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? What's the venom? What's the sadness? What are you reacting against or towards? And feel it at the same time. Emotions are not about being. Emotions are about action. They are acting from tension. Emotion is a discharge that comes from tension. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? This is a very basic rule of acting. An actor does not feel first. An actor acts from a very invested place. I'm very invested in getting here. If I'm blocked or stopped, I will have an emotional reaction. The more I try to get there, I'm going to get frustrated or sad, or if I do get there, I'll be happy. I don't try to feel happy. I emote through action. Tension is what creates the emotion. How are you doing with this, Cesar?
I agree.
Okay. You're confused? I might have gotten off topic here.
No, I'm not confused, but this is mind-blowing.
Yeah? Okay. So,
question.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
So if we take the same example where the girl just with a wide smile, how do you recognize, or to what extent you can go and provoke, and how do you recognize that now the client is going towards a resilient state and not really hiding behind the mask?
As soon as they are using energy, they are using resilience, okay? Even for them to use all this energy to not care, to not feel, you can ask them directly, what does it demand of you to not feel this? What does it demand of you to push this away? You can have them physicalize it, but you need to have them, if you want them to react, you need to give them something to react off of, okay? That's the problem. When you can't just tell somebody, get sad, get angry, get happy. You've got to act upon them so they can have the reaction. Again, what are they, if they're protecting themselves, what are they protecting themselves against? You got to get the parameters in place. In order for them to protect themselves more, you've got to get them invested in what that thing is. And then you got to bring it closer and closer and closer to them, so they have to work. Do you understand? That's why making something specific, okay? I'm having problems at work. Okay, what exactly are the problems? Well, people are gossiping about me, and my boss treats me unfairly. Everyone else gets all the favors and advantages, and I have to work extra hard because they make me feel like I don't belong, okay? That's more specific. Who exactly is doing this? Name 1, 2, 3 people. Who are the key people? Now that's even more specific. Now, oh, but it's okay, you know, let them have their little clique and party. I'm fine to do my work in the corner. Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Why are you complaining about it? Do you understand? You feel isolated at work, but you don't care. You're better than them. That's mask and shield. Do you get it? Okay, who's treating you? Who's not inviting you to the party? Okay, see their face. What are they saying or thinking about you? What exactly are they saying behind your back? Now, have them say it to your face right now. How does that feel? Now you're going to get reactions because you've got them something for them to push against, okay? Are you guys getting this? That's how you start dissolving the shield, because they have no choice but to bust out of the shield. Does that make sense to you guys?
And then it goes away, or...
And then what?
And then it goes away. So
no, not necessarily. We're not here to make it go away. What you're doing is you want them to engage, okay?
And what happens then?
They're using energy. Grab the energy, and we turn it around into pure resilience. Okay, we learned this in module 1, how to convert energy into resilience. Now, the short method here is, as soon as you got the energy, take the circumstance and the situation away and focus on the pure experience of the energy. Okay, they're really, oh, that just irritates me. Okay, great. Now, forget them. Just focus on your fists and that growl, and just, what's the sensation of that? Okay, now they're focusing on the pure energy they're using. Then, how does that energy feed you? What does it give you? What's it doing to you? Okay, they might say, oh, but I never liked this. This is being a bad person. Say, forget it. What are you enjoying in this? What are you secretly enjoying in this? Oh, I feel powerful. What kind of power is that? And you eventually link that to their well-being. That creates a resilience, okay? That's a whole other call on converting energy into resilience, okay? But what you want is, when there's a shield, they're disengaging. You have to close that gap so they are engaging, okay? Masks are actually easier to work with because they're already engaging. They're already attacking or defending with their mask. The shield is more difficult because they have the distance and they are disengaged. How are you guys doing with this information? Okay. So the key is you can use the mask or the shield to activate the client, okay? When you're cracking a mask or cracking the shield, it's that moment where, oh, something just disappeared and they go into this no identity zone. It's like they've lost their footing, they lost their balance. And in that moment of losing their balance, that's when they can connect to source, okay? That's when we drop them. They might drop briefly, but every time they get destabilized, all they need to do is become aware that they're still alive without that mask or shield. They're still surviving, and that leads them back to resilience gradually. So that has them loosen the hold on depending on that mask or that shield. Is that making sense for you guys? Okay. Like I said, In 90 minutes, I mean, there's so much to cover. Go ahead, Cesar. Or
do I have some responsibilities as a coach from an ethical point of view when he's off mask, off shield?
I don't understand the question. Or if you just say it again.
And you said when he's truly vulnerable and without mask, without shield, and he's able to reconnect with the source, do I have any responsibility to grab them by the hand?
I wouldn't grab them by the hand. I would let them be aware that they are fine. You ask them, okay, here you are. How okay are you? Well, this is uncomfortable. Yeah, it's new, it's weird, and how are you now? You normalize the vulnerability. Vulnerability just means they feel raw. And for some people that have depended on masks and shields for so long, they're not going to stay there that long. So you just got to keep returning them, okay? Bit by bit by bit. And they will warm up to it more and more and more. Your job is to make them aware that they're still intact, even when they temporarily let go of the shield or the mask. That's more the process, okay? Now,
Roy?
Yeah.
Can I pop a question?
Yeah.
I like going through the definition of shields and masks. I feel like I get more shields than masks with my clients. So regularly I get clients who claim that they're numb. Like they don't claim that they're numb, but they don't feel anything. Like nothing's happening. It's really difficult to get in. And they don't know, they don't bring topics, they just don't know. And they sometimes also feel like there's something wrong with them not to feel anything. I should be very sad for them. I should have empathy. I just don't feel anything. Any tips on how to work with that?
Ask them, are they psychopathic?
Okay.
Well, that made you laugh.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay, now, and they might have that same reaction. You say, well, you're laughing. So how'd that happen that you're actually laughing? I thought you don't feel. Do you get it?
Call them on their game.
Yeah. Call them on the game. Yeah. Now, they may truly think, oh, I don't have that. They're putting pressure on themselves thinking,
no, I should feel.
They're quantifying how a feeling should look or feel.
Exactly.
They're saying it's got to be this big and this dramatic. They're not noticing that they can have tiny, subtle micro feelings. Another way is have them go to sensation, not emotion.
Okay.
Sometimes they're feeling stuff, but they don't know how to name it.
Exactly.
But they certainly can have the physical sensation. So go to the physical sensation first. How does the physical sensation affect them? How does it affect their awareness? Then they'll realize, okay, they'll find the emotion from the physical sensation.
I do that, yeah.
Another one is they know exactly what they're feeling, but they will not name it.
Yeah.
Because they feel once they name it, it's now real. And they may not be able to handle it. They'll think there'll be an exploding volcano, and they don't want to be disruptive. They don't want to be destroyed. They don't want to be out of control. They think they're going to go out of control as soon as they name it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And another one is they don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
What if I'm not really frustrated? I'm more sad, So one great technique is, are you happy, sad, or angry? And we'll say, well, none of those. And they say, well, what is it? Happy, sad, angry. Try one of those on. As soon as they try it on, they'll say, no, it's not happiness. It's I'm satisfied. You got to give them something to hold on to, and they can test it. Let them test the feeling.
That makes sense.
Even just say, do you like this or not like this? Make it black or white. That helps them name, okay?
Yeah.
I wanted to speak briefly about this fifth mask because it's very, very important. You can escape, flee, fight, or cling, but there is a fifth mask, and I call it the cancer card. This is where they say, no, you do not cross this line. It's like, we can't talk about that. I have cancer. How dare you? You should go easy on me. Okay? This is where people fake an injury when they walk into the courtroom so they can gain sympathy from the jury. Okay? But what it's really used for, it's to create censorship. Don't go there. And they try to shame you into not going there. Don't you know I have cancer? Don't you know I had a miscarriage? Don't you know my people have been oppressed for 400 years? How dare you bring this up? So do not cross this line. Watch the cancer card. If they protest too much or they go into the how dare you and they try to make you wrong, you know you're hitting a hot button. That's one of the most powerful masks, okay? It could even be, I thought you were a coach. I thought you were professional. We got some background noise coming in. Don't know who it is. Dogs barking. Okay. So how do you handle that? I'm just gonna mute you guys to see where this one's coming from. I don't know. It's coming from Alina. We've got some background noise coming from Alina. Okay. So I'm gonna mute you, Alina, and you can unmute yourself if you need to speak. Briefly, how do you handle the cancel card? Any ideas?
I mean, we can talk about cancer card, not literally cancer card. It could be anything.
Anything. I say I call it the cancer card. It's actually an expression, but it's like, wait, don't talk about this because I'm this. I'm special in some way. I'm immune to that. They make it taboo. Go ahead, Vinay.
How about naming ourselves? So like, it seems you're putting some censorship, or you don't want me to go there. Seems to be a taboo.
Yeah, you could say, yeah. So sometimes I'll say, so what?
You say what?
So what? I mean, if they literally say, but I have cancer, I'll say, okay. So, and that has nothing to do with it. You neutralize the taboo quality of it, okay? You can say, ooh, I hit a hot button, okay? Before I go away, before we close the door on that, what is so hot there for you? If that's a hot button, what's hot? And they might say, you can't cross this line. There's no way. No, 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 no. I will not go there. I say, fine. You won't go there. What's going on there? What's the limit there? Okay. Don't get them to justify or explain. Get them to take a look. Okay. It's both a mask and a shield, this cancer card. It's a massive shield. It's aggressive. Okay.
Hi, Troy.
Yeah.
One question.
Yeah.
So you said don't get them to justify, make them take a look.
Make them take a look.
How can you do that? Like, how can we make sure they're we name that button, and now when they are responding, we actually make them take a look and not justify.
Okay, when they use the cancer card, they're trying to dramatize something. So when we neutralize the drama around it, they can take a look at what's going on. They're trying to make you not accept something that's going on. If you completely accept it, you're okay with it, you're resilient, you don't make drama about it, that's going to calm them down a little bit more too, okay? Sometimes they use these cancer cards on purpose, and sometimes it's pure reaction because it's something that's taboo for them. As soon as you normalize it, meaning call a spade, with benevolence, kindness, but not, they're looking for the sympathy, your sympathy. Don't give them the sympathy, just give them a fact is a fact, okay? Sometimes I'll bring their cancer cards up before they do, so they can't use it.
So it's also, Troy, a lot about like we as coaches being in this resilient perspective.
Exactly.
So we can kind of dare to go very close to them in this.
Exactly, yeah. What you're really doing is with every mask shield, you're accepting the mask and the shield, you understand it's natural. And then there is a resilient person behind that mask or shield. And with every mask or shield, you're simply reconnecting them to the resilience so they don't depend on it, the mask or the shield. Okay, that's false resilience. And so with each mask or shield, as they slowly drop it or loosen their grip to it, they're crossing a line with themselves. They're crossing a taboo, little by little by little by little, okay? That's really one of the purposes of EED, is to neutralize all taboos. When we neutralize all taboos, we have more acceptance of things. We integrate more of ourselves. We can reconcile ourselves with the things around us and within. That creates more liberation, more sovereignty. If we keep cutting ourselves up into little pieces with rules, and this is appropriate, this isn't appropriate, we censor this, we censor that, we weaken ourselves. And then we need more masks and shields to protect ourselves against those forbidden zones we've created for ourselves. When we are resilient, unconditionally resilient, nothing is actually forbidden. We can withstand everything and we can create from everything. It's unconditional. Now, that's a superhuman state eventually. But bit by bit, when we start taking these walls down, we don't need to depend on these masks or shields. And rather, take the mask or the shield and find out what's the strength that got cultivated by using it. Plug that strength back into resilience. And now they have more of an integrated, resilient quality in themselves, where they can choose to use the mask or not. They're not dependent on it. This is eventually where we go, where they can get to know their masks and shields and choose them at will. It's not out of reactivity, okay? There's a difference. I can use my mask and still be resilient, or I can use my mask and feel empty inside. How are you guys doing with that information?
I just keep asking myself if ethical guideline could be a mask, you know?
Yes, it is. Yes, that's one of the cancer cards. It can get co-opted. Ethics can get co-opted. Values the same. Oh, I have a value of self-care. Oh, I have a... Just look at what the Democrats are doing in the United States. They're using cancer cards all over the place right now. It's a desperate measure. The cancer card comes out when somebody feels very desperate and very threatened. Okay? It's quite aggressive. Okay? How dare Kanye West support Trump? Doesn't he realize that, you know, blacks have been oppressed? And how can he just, you know, say that blacks are responsible for themselves when they've been oppressed for 400 years in slavery? You can't deny that slavery. I mean, that's a cancer card. That is a cancer card. Okay? That's going to come up in the next call around the victim cycle and how victims use these cancer cards a lot. Okay? And how do you work with it? For now, what I want to say is I want to close with you guys. I just want to mention that you're going to get a thank you email. It does give you a nice discount on the next series coming up in the fall. We have Module 1 running in Paris. We've added a new date, September 21st. We also have October 12th in Paris. We have October 19th in Munich. And then for the sake of the recording, we have October 26th in Toronto and November 9th in Toronto. All of you are in Europe, so you won't be coming to Toronto, but I'm saying it for the recording. What is it that you are taking away? Either what now feels new and inspiring, or what you'd like to test out in practice. I cannot claim I gave you all the answers. Like I said, this is a huge topic. It does demand more investigation, more training, okay? But what are you walking away with?
I can go first.
Yeah.
I am walking away with sparks. I'm intrigued by the topic. I'm first and foremost walking away with more awareness about what's going on with the client. And I'm curious to learn more about how to work with that.
Okay. Great. Great.
Yeah, for me, one is awareness about how do you recognize, how do you look at it from client's perspective. As at the same time, it's also I'm becoming aware sometimes of the mask or shield that I myself use. And some provocative questions that I can use to counter those masks to see the reactions. So some tips and tools.
Great.
I came in this call with thinking about the masks that I use, but at the very end, I think I'm looking right now at the client's mask, and I'm wondering if in my future practice, how can I be more aware about this mask?
Okay. Anyone else?
My takeaway is searching for the first impulse, because usually you get what you see, but behind it's the first impulse.
That's right. Very, very important.
I just realized that I'm on a flip page with Mihai. He came with his mask and goes with the client mask. I came completely vice versa. I thought only about the client's masks, and when you were speaking so clearly, it was, oh my God, this is me. So I have to get out quickly from this call because it will destructure my self-image. But I realize now how important it is to realize this, and how important it is to have a guidance, a professional one, because you cannot just play with dynamite, you know. It's going to be a mess there if you play with dynamite without knowing how to wire the thing.
Vinay, you said you have to go. Do you have anything you wanted to say?
No, I think it was as usual, very, very lot of things. So
Okay.
thanks for that, and see you next time.
Yeah. Great. Anyone else? You're not obligated to speak, but if you do want to speak to
Hello guys, I came late to this webinar and I lost the masks, but I gained the shields.
Okay.
I want. It was very valuable, the shields and the cancer card and building resilience.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to study more masks and to recognize these masks on my clients and my masks also. And it was very valuable, the cancer card.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be more provocative, to put the clients to react to something more.
Yes.
And get that energy that moves them.
Okay.
And thank you, Troy.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
I also want to say thank you. Great call. And what I'm wondering about is that I want to give up that captain and crew thing, maybe, because for the moment being, it feels like just building new fake resiliences, more roles, games to play. So I think the pure resilience, as I understand it now, has no face and has no role and has no whatever. But I have to sort that out. But the more I hear, the more of this, what I'm doing is just pushing them into masks and shields.
It can. Those tools, values, personas, visualizations, they can be used as a mask or shield. The only reason they get used like that is when they're not plugged back into resilience, okay? The simple thing is take that captain or that crew member, that persona, that high resonant personality, plug it back into their well-being, have them integrate it back into themselves. It's not external. It needs to be internalized, and then they don't need it anymore. They pay attention to the source energy that it's providing. That's what's missing.
The neediness is what and you are so happy when they have something to cling on, because they don't feel needy anymore, and you are a great coach. I will be more aware.
That's right. That's going to be part of the focus of the next call, which deals with false empowerment, okay? As a coach, are you actually liberating your client from the victim cycle, or are you enabling the victim cycle, okay, through false empowerment? So that'll be a good one to join as well. And we'll look at what you've just brought up. In short, to keep this really simple, number one, remember, masks and shields are natural. So come from a place of acceptance first. Okay, they're putting up their shield. Okay, they're putting up their mask. That's natural. It's normal. That's human nature. No need to fight it or eliminate it, okay? Number two, pay attention to the energy they use to put up that mask or shield. That's the resilience. It's the energy they use to hold it there. Number three, pay attention to first impulse. What happened just before the mask or the shield went up? If you pay attention to your own self, when you notice, aha, here I am using a mask or a shield, don't criticize yourself for it, but actually become fascinated. Okay, what just happened before? Be more rigorously truthful with yourself. What did I just feel that made me want to put up that mask? Now, what would it demand for me to be okay investigating that impulse? That will inform you what you need to do as a coach. A person will never lower the mask or the shield if they do not feel okay, safe, and resilient. Okay? When they're feeling resilient, they drop the mask, the shield automatically. So you've got to cultivate that space. Don't feed their weakness, feed their resilience. So keep exploring that. Explore first impulse, take the masks as being natural, and pay attention to the energy they use. That's resilience. You guys good with that? Great. Thank you. Yes. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm just going to stop the recording, and if anyone wishes to hang out longer for Q&A, I'm happy to do that. So I want to thank everyone. Be sure to, follow EED on Twitter, Facebook. Encourage your friends to come to these webinars because we've got room for more people. You'll be getting a link. You'll be getting a thank you email, the link in the thank you email. Spread the word, spread it around. We do these every month. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you everyone for joining.